In today's episode, we talk with Kieran, a South London community leader, about how the simplest solution is often the most effective. Well, cool, bro. Let's jump into this. I think that we got a couple, just like a super casual outline here, so we'll just go with the flow. But yeah, I just wanted to start with this. You're offering 283 free football sessions, 554 hours on the pitch. I'm reading these numbers, so I don't want to get them wrong.
Yeah.
47 young people. 70% of those young people are from social housing. It's
Mm.
incredible reach, incredible impact. It's not coming from a big organization. It's coming from one person. It's coming from you quietly fighting for your community, fighting for South London through football. So, Kieran, founder of Sports Fund for All, which is a grassroots football project here in South London. We're incredibly excited to have you here to talk a little bit more about your project, your impact, the social sector in general here in the UK. And if I came to one of your sessions this week, what would I see, or what would I feel? I just wanted to start with what are your sessions like?
Oh, I just want to say it isn't just me because I think you said it's down to me. It's definitely not down to me. It's down to the whole team. Yeah, so we wouldn't be able to do it without the whole team, and that's why we've been able to develop this reach because of the team of coaches that I've created. But yeah, if you came to a session tonight, I guess you just see quite an informal environment in terms of it's an open football session. You turn up, you get put into teams, you play a match. There's no real structured coaching unless we have really low numbers, and then we kind of maybe do some one-to-one or two-on-one coaching. But yeah, I'd say it's a very kind of friendly environment where the young people, they feel comfortable with the coaches, they feel comfortable with one another. But at the same time, there's a structure and discipline to it in terms of their behavior. So they're not allowed to just act and do what they want. There's no swearing. We don't allow abusive language. There's no bullying, and all those kind of things get nipped in the bud. And there's a culture. I think it's kind of widely known that if you come to a sport fun for all session, it's not going to be a free for all where the young people run the session, the coaches run the session, and you adhere to the rules that the coaches have created. So yeah, I think that's kind of the overall, I guess, picture that you get if you were to come down.
Yeah, I mean that's to be completely transparent. I've been to a few sessions, and that's definitely what I felt. Just like a really positive energy, a really nice balance between structured activities, but kids just or young people being able to just be themselves and use football as a form of expression. So you're from South London, born and bred, as you put it. What inspired you to start? Why'd you wake up one day and say, we need more free football in South London?
I guess so. Yeah, I grew up playing a lot of football pretty much every single day. And then I became a coach and I started working on a kicks program for Millwall back in 2010. I then left, and then a few years later, I started going to the gym where they used to run the kicks program. And the football pitch where we used to do the kicks program, it was like 2015, 2016. And the pitch was kind of always empty. There was no one ever playing there. The time Lewisham Council had local ward assembly funding. So I thought, okay, I can go for this funding to run a football project in Downham because Downham's got loads of young people, lots of social housing, lots of deprivation, and there is a need for it there. So yeah, I guess it wasn't this genius idea or anything like it was just like there's clearly a need here. I know how to coach football and I know how to get funding, the two things that are needed. And I think at that point I'd set Sport Fund for All up as a company, but we weren't delivering anything. So yeah, I applied for the funding. We did a project in Downham and a project in Bellingham, and then the rest is history. But I guess in terms of youth provision, the most popular sport in the world is football. The most popular sport in inner city communities is football. It's an easier sport to set up and play. So it's very, it's a great way to engage young people, and it's what they want to do. We're not trying to sell them tag rugby or darts or cricket. This is what these young people want to do, predominantly boys, but some girls. This is really what they want to do. And we're giving them access to these 3G floodlit facilities they otherwise wouldn't be able to access. So it's kind of a very simple, straightforward model, but it's effective at the same time. And you can see those numbers. I'll be honest with you, like And yeah, I was going to blow our own trumpet. Those numbers are ridiculous. Like that was done in the middle of May have engaged that many young people and delivered that many sessions already. With what our income is astronomical. To be honest with you, there'd be charities with millions of pounds worth of income. That if they got the same as that, they'd be shouting from the rooftops about it. And we've done that with 10% of what their income is. And there's loads of reasons behind that, but you can see that wherever I've started 10 new venues in the last 2 years, and there's every venue the young people come. It might take a week, it might take 4 weeks, it might take 2 months, but once they know about it, those young people will come, and that's because they know. I mean, sorry, that's because there's a need for this. It's not something
Mm,
that we're having to push too hard. Young people want to play football, so yeah.
yeah.
Like, so what does it actually take to run Sports Fund for All? Can you give us perspective, just like anywhere you want to take it on like what it's like running a charity in South London, a small project? What are your biggest barriers to success? We talked about funding, space, but I just think that people don't understand the amount of effort that goes in. Like they'll see
Mm,
a number, 200 classes, but what's everything that
mhm,
goes into making that happen?
Yeah, there's so much, man, that it's crazy, and it's not for the faint-hearted. Like, if you haven't got extreme dedication and motivation and resilience, like, this is not for you at all. Like, to for us to be delivering 21 sessions a week, 17 of them are free, that's more than anyone else in London. Well, no one else is delivering more weekly free football sessions than us. Like, so last year we were rejected for £500,000 of funding. That's constant rejection. Obviously, me and you spoke about this, Dylan. Like, if
Yeah.
you're getting rejected that much, it's very easy to give up. So you're only going to carry it on. When you're asking, like, what does it take? You've got to have a real passion for this. And there's loads of people that get into this because they think, oh, I can get funding. It's a charity sector. It's easy and whatnot. They're not really doing it for the right reasons. And then reality hits home. They're like, okay, this is not a joke. So this year alone, I would say I put in between 80 to 100 funding bids already. And we're kind of end of May. And the success rate has picked up. So that's something that's good. Obviously, you've got the facilities. Staff is a big thing because I've got coaches ranging from 16-year-olds up to 38-year-olds, and they've all got their own issues. A 16, 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old, I'm teaching them everything they know about life almost and getting a job and how to be professional and all. So I'm literally, it's like a clean slate, which is a positive because you can develop them a lot, but then there's so many things that some of them don't do, which you would think are basic, but they're not. Then you've got older coaches that maybe they think they know things already and they can't be taught. And then that comes with its own problems as well. So you've got both ends of the spectrum where people have picked up bad habits and you can't necessarily change those things, or people are hard headed because they think they know stuff, but you don't. You're working for me, so I'm in charge. I've been in this for longer than some of you have been alive. Listen, and we might learn something. So you've got the
mm,
staff issue. You've got parents. Luckily, I don't have to deal with the parents that much because our evening sessions, pretty much 99% of the young people that attend without their parents. These are young people, they're very streetwise young people. Their mum and dad are not dropping them off to these community sessions because mum and dad are at work. That's if they've even got both parents. So these young people are coming by themselves. You have very minimal contact with their parents. And sometimes that's a good thing because the parents are sometimes the issue in these situations. So parents can be a problem, but that's not a massive thing. And then you've got the young people, like right at the center of it. Obviously, they're the kind of the core function of everything. And we've had loads of issues with young people this year, from abuse to coaches, fighting, threatening to stab people, robbing coaches' footballs, like you name it, it's happened. Um, and we've got quite a strict rule, and young people do get
Sorry
banned. And
to I just wanted
yeah,
to I don't know if you're gonna get there, but I didn't wanna lose that point. How do you
mm.
handle that as a coach, or how do you get your coaches to be able to handle a situation like that where they're being threatened and they have to not only diffuse a situation, but not have it a moment of learning or a moment of growth? Like, how do you handle a situation like that and try to make it, I don't want to say a positive situation, but what do you do in a moment like that, and how do you handle it so that it tries to not escalate and comes out positively?
so I think a lot of the guys that work for me, especially the younger guys, they're showing maturity well above their years. They're not average 16 to 21-year-olds. the way they can deal with situations is not how an average 18, 19, 20-year-old would deal with a situation. So if they've had situations where parents turned up because their child's been banned and the parent is acting like an idiot, going nuts at the coach, and the coaches are remaining calm. So the person that's half your age is showing more maturity than the adult. And I think it's down to your temperament. I think that you have to jump through so many hoops to work for me that by the time you get to that stage where you're at a session, you're ready for this now. You know how to deal with it. And even if you don't, your life skills or your instinct kick in and you deal with it. And then whatever mistake you make, we always look at, okay, what could you have done differently? How can that be improved? And so it's about a solution focus, about learning from your experiences and your problems. But I'd say we're in a very good place at the moment with not all of the coaches, but a lot of the coaches where they understand the culture, they're good with young people. And if situation happened a few weeks ago where one of the more experienced coaches wasn't at the session and these two coaches were a bit less experienced, and there was two boys there, two brothers that were causing an issue and were verbally abusing them and being rude and whatnot. And so those boys, they're now banned. One of them's banned for 2 weeks, one of them's banned for a bit longer, but they will learn their lesson and they will understand that sports fun for all is not an environment where you can get away with that behavior. So the coaches are always fully supported 100%. So that kind of instills this level of like belief and confidence in them, like, oh, okay, I can manage this and I can show authority. Because I often say that to these coaches where they're younger, some of them, they're scared to put their authority across, but I always tell them, like, don't be scared to do that. So yeah, I think it's just a constant ongoing learning process for everyone, including myself. So yeah.
Yeah. It's really it's really one of the things that I've always loved in our conversations is just how direct you are with everything. There's no sugarcoating,
Mm,
it's just the way it is. This is the reality. This
mm,
is the reality for a lot of young people in South London, and we're going to run it in a way that fits that culture. And I just
yeah.
think that's really refreshing to hear.
Mm,
This is just what it takes to run it. I wanted to ask you because, you know, alongside like the statistics of all the young people who are involved, alongside the statistics of the most like free football in London, you know, I know you have some really, because the project's been running long enough, you've had some young people who were involved in the project and now they've become
mm,
coaches and they're working with you. And I just feel like those stories bring a lot to the impact stats as well. So I was just wondering if you could tell us
yeah.
some stories about the young people who have come full circle now and now work for you.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a few. So there's Elias. So Elias, I met Elias in COVID, in the third lockdown. Was training outdoors in the outdoor gyms. I met him there. And that was like March, April 2021. And he knew a young person that I knew in the local area. He had then approached me in May 21 when we first started back. And he was like, yeah, he wants to volunteer. Like he came up to me, didn't get his mum to do it or his dad to do it, which a lot of these young people do. Like he came up to me, showed initiative, and then he volunteered for 2 months. He then worked on the HAF program, and he was not a coach. Like I would say I was naturally a coach. I played football. I'm loud, authoritative. Like it came naturally to me. He was not a coach, but he's the most coachable person I've come across in my life. Like I've never seen anything like it. The way he's improved and developed, and what he's doing at 20, he's like my right hand man at 20 years old is ridiculous. Like I think we spoke ages ago, Dylan, about like having someone alongside you and he is that now. Like so, he's doing admin work. He's not just coaching. He's doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. So there's Elias, there's Daniel Irvin. So Daniel lives across the road from Forster Park, which is our first ever, well, one of our first venues. And I knew Daniel since he was 12 years old, and I'd always seen him playing in the park, and his brother had come to our session. So I'd really seen him grow up. Uh, and then I approached him, I think when he was like 16 and a half, and said, yeah, I think you'll be a good coach. You want to come on board? And now he's come on board on the volunteering process. He's been working for me for 2.5 years. And then there's Barry. So Barry was a participant when he was 10 years old back in 2017. And Barry had a few struggles that he's been kicked out of mainstream education, went to a pupil referral unit, but he actually came through the other side and hasn't gone down the usual path, which most young people tend to, which is criminality, gangs, young offenders institution. And he's actually done well. He's going to college, he's working for Sports Fund for All, and he's been involved in Sports Fund for All since 2017, and we're now in 2025. So they're kind of three examples. But at the moment, of the 14 coaches that are working for me at the moment, I think it's 8 or 9 have come through the volunteer process. Not all of them were ex-participants, but they're all from the local area, or they're friends of ex-coaches, and they've done the volunteer process for 2 months and then started being paid coaches. So yeah, it's a real tangible pathway and route into employment and developing life skills. And I think, touching back to what you said initially, George, like the football for me is just like, for me, if a young person comes and they do what they want and they can get away with anything at Sport Fun for All, I and my coaches have failed. They need to know, if you come here and you take the mick, and there's going to be repercussions. I know some people can say, "Oh, you can't be too tough on young people," but it's better you're tough on them now in this environment than they go out into the real world, and then the police and the authorities and whoever, employers, they're going to be tough on them. So they need to learn there is consequences to their action. If it means getting banned for 2 weeks, okay, cool. But most of them come back and they fix up their behavior because they realize, okay, this is not a place I could take the piss. Like sorry for my language, but young people need boundaries. That's goes without saying. And adults, responsible adults, have to provide those boundaries. If you're not providing those boundaries, you are failing children and young people. Simple as that.
I just quickly, before you jump in, Dylan, I was just going to say that you probably don't hear it enough, Kieran, because I'm always, we know change makers across the world who don't hear it enough. But like the way you tell those stories have just become so accustomed to you. But everyone who's listening is like, it's amazing. Like to be able to take 4 young people on a journey like that, change their lives and give them opportunity, work, full circle, and then all the stats behind that as well. It's just amazing, man. It really, really is. And it's just like, to everybody listening, there are these change makers like Kieran in the community who know the community, they understand the community, it's their culture. And that's the sort of impact they're able to create. And that's, it's just real testament to you, man. And it's really inspiring.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I want to go back to like kind of the beginning here. I think we spoke a little bit about it, but just in regards to London, I think when George and I moved into the impact space in London, there's not as much of a recognition of the need of social impact in London. I think it kind of, at least our funders and the people we were talking with, like coming from Brazil, coming from the favelas, like, you're going to London? Like, why is there a need in London? And that's kind of what I wanted to ask you about. Like, you talked a little bit about it. What are the challenges facing young people in the community? Why is your work important?
I mean, yeah, that's crazy to think that, man, because I think London, obviously, there's just a massive divide, isn't there, between the haves and the have-nots. So we do sessions in Kennington, which is, yeah, it's where a lot of the MPs and politicians and city people work, and there's millionaires. And if you live in private housing, the private housing would cost over £1 million to buy. But if you live in social housing, then yeah, you're living in social housing. But so it's not like, I don't know, say you got an area in Catford, you'd have a mix of young people that come from houses where where their parents own the house, and there's social housing. Whereas in Kennington, you look through the data, I've seen it, it's like 98, 99% of every single young person lives in social housing.
So when you're in the wealthier areas, all the people are from social
Pretty
housing.
much, yeah. Because what you got to understand is, so say you're, I don't know, an MP or whatnot, and your combined income is 300 grand, 400 grand a year, and you live in
What's
Kennington,
an
and it's
MP? Just
like somebody works in Parliament.
yeah.
Yeah,
Member of Parliament.
Member of Parliament. Yeah, that's it.
For all of our American listeners, Kieran.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah. Just
cool.
just
So
clarify what an
politician.
MP is.
But what I'm trying to explain is, if you live in those areas and you own your house, you're more than likely sending your child to private education. So therefore, if you're sending your child to private education, they're not really going to attend a free community football session. So what you get is the majority of the young people that will attend our sessions are from social housing. And I mean, even across all of our sessions, you can see it's at 70%. So that shows you we're working with the right young people. We're working with the young people that their parents can't afford for them to do a one-to-one coach on Monday, and a development center on Tuesday, and a showcase game on Wednesday. Like, they need this free football. You've got young people, they come to 3 sessions a week. Yeah, I guess it was about the impacts. You've got the monetary side of things where we're providing something for free. That's really important. And then you've got, I guess, the safety aspect. Like, London is a very, very dangerous place for teenagers. I can talk about that as somebody that grew up in London. Between the ages of like 13 to 19, 20 years old, you are, as a teenager, especially a teenage boy, you're very, very under threat. Like, you can't go to other areas without people necessarily troubling you. They might try to rob you. They might, what are you doing around here? And then if you are involved in certain, if say you are involved in a gang, but you're carrying something, now you're under threat in a different way, because now people might want to kill you. So at one of our sessions, to give the viewers from America who are listening, at one of our sessions a couple of months ago at Deptford Lounge. So Deptford is a very notorious area for gangs, drug addicts, all that kind of stuff. I came out of the toilet and the session was going on, and all the coaches and young people were overlooking the balcony. So the pitch is on top of a library, and two boys were getting chased by another boy with a Rambo knife. And one of the boys that was getting chased, he drew out his own Rambo knife to defend himself. So now they're having a face-off in the street, but eventually they both went their separate ways, ran off. But that's what's happening. And the young people, that I can't even explain to you that the poignancy in that moment, yeah, that these young people are in a sports fun for all session on top of this roof, away from this hellhole of an area that they're living in, with all this madness that's going on. For those 2 hours, they're on top of this roof and they're safe playing football, but they're looking down at what they could be involved in. And these boys knew the boys that were doing it and were getting chased. So that's what you're stopping these young, that's a real life example. And that's what these young people are growing up around. So so yeah, the community safety aspect, the monetary aspect of it, the exercise, the socializing, the well-being, the life skills, the learning to lose, having, being in a place where there's discipline, having strong. So look, remember, a lot of these coaches are basically the same as these young people, but they're 3, 4, 5 years older. So they're looking at someone that basically the same as them, but has done something positive with their life. That's very powerful as well. So yeah, I could go on all day about like why there's a need for it, and yeah. So, but that's a few of the reasons.
I mean, there's like so many things to piece apart there. I mean, like first off, I think when you talk about football, like and how in London it's become something that isn't accessible to everybody. It's based on your financial resources, which is really sad because everybody should have a space to play. It's just a game that everybody wants to play. I mean, for obvious reasons, just that example of the divide and being in a safe space by watching where you could be and what you could be doing. And that must have been for those young people in that session, just like an incredible moment of perspective of like, I'm here in this free, safe place with my friends playing football in a positive environment. And it's such like a direct impact. It's rare that you see such a direct impact when you're doing social work.
Yeah, I sorry, just to say, I think because I think when you're young, I don't think you actually really look at those things. I think you only look back and reflect on those things when you get older. And I think those young people, I genuinely think they will just be like, this is just what happens around here. That's how,
Yeah.
because they're so used to seeing and hearing all this stuff that when they see it, they just got like you could see they were a bit taken aback here, but 5 minutes later, they're playing football. But that is the reality of what they're growing up around. Like, that is a very deprived area, predominantly social housing, a lot of poverty. You're walking along Deptford High Street, there's drug addicts everywhere, homeless people. Like, it's a mad. So this is what they're. So I don't know
Yeah.
how much they actually reflect and think, oh, you know what? Like, I'm here for 2 hours. Like, I'm not there. I don't know how. We didn't have that conversation. We didn't unpack it because we're not. I don't know. It's a football session, so we don't necessarily go into that level of depth. But yeah.
Yeah, we know. So, I mean, we know on this call that London's experiencing record levels of knife crime, record levels of deprivation in certain areas. The gap between the rich and the poor is getting bigger. So, with that as an influence around these young people, like when they come to the session, what is it that keeps them engaged? What is it that stops them from doing something, going down a negative path? Is it the coaches? Is it the football itself? Is it
I
you?
just think they want to play football. I think that's like a big part of it. I'm not saying every single young person that attends our sessions is potentially going to be kicked out of school or going to become a gang member. There's obviously young people that do attend our sessions are in and around that, are involved in that. But I just think these young people, they genuinely just love football, and we're providing a free football session for them. And it's most of the time it's on their doorstep, or it's quarter mile away, half a mile. It's one bus, walk up the road, and they're there, and that's it. That's literally, I think, people overcomplicate things. We're in so many areas that if you were to look at a map of South London and dot all the sports fun for all sessions, and you'd be like, wow, this is crazy. Like, if you live in the south of Lewisham, you're so lucky. You got Catford, Downham, Bellingham, like on your doorstep, running 5 nights a week. So that's what it is. I think they attend because they just like football, and it's a place to socialize with their friends. They want to improve. Remember, a lot of these guys want to be footballers. Whether it's going to happen or not is another thing, but they want to be footballers. So no, they need to practice a lot
Yeah.
to make it happen.
So I'm really happy with that. That's the way you answered that. I was just because I know you've answered that before to me in different meetings and stuff, and I just love the fact that you're just stating the obvious, and it can be simple. It's just the access to the space. It's just the football. It's just the collective, the unity, the getting together. It's just like, that's it. You don't need to make it more complicated. And we find ourselves
Yeah,
so often writing impact reports and going, and this is what they're getting from this, and this is what they're getting from this. But actually, it can be simple. Impact can be simple. And you just said it so perfectly, Kieran.
yeah. I think the problem as well. I think the problem as well is that is the reason with a lot of these funders, they're so lost and clueless because that they it's too simple for them to fund. Like we've got more funding this year, but it's not for free football. Most of our funding is not for free football anymore. It's for coach education and employability and stuff like that. Because it's like they don't want to fund free football. It's like because it's not hitting this, I don't know, you can't use big words to describe it, but this is the most core important thing. And you're engaging so many young people, but yeah, it's just so frustrating because, as you said, it is so simple, but it's almost too simple for them. You're giving them a tap in, but it's too simple for them. They want something, they want tangible outcome. They want 10 people to get level 1 so they can go into employment. Yeah, that's nice. But what about the 837 young people that we've just engaged? That, like, some of these boys have come to 40 sessions already this year. I mean, that's a huge part of their life. Like, they're doing something productive 3-4 days a week.
We tend to do that just as human beings, overcomplicate the simple thing. But just thinking along those lines and the growth that you've done up to this point, you talked a lot about funding, the struggles that you're having to continue to get funding for just like the simplicity and the simple beauty of the work of free football. What kind of future do you want to build for Sports One for All? What would you, in your ideal world, what do you want to accomplish with it, or what's the future that you think of for it?
I don't know. I mean, I've been full time since September, so that was a big thing for me to go full time with it.
It's huge.
Um,
That's like a massive step
Yeah.
for a local.
yeah, yeah.
You kind of just slid that in to go for somebody
Oh,
that's
I
like, I'm
thought,
going to dedicate all my time to this right now. I mean, that's incredibly impressive.
yeah,
Yeah,
I thought,
but also the fact that, just for everybody listening, the fact that before that you were doing something else to supplement your
yeah,
lifestyle, and you were still doing all of this cool stuff.
yeah,
You
yeah,
were
yeah,
still doing all of this impact. Like I
yeah.
mean, it's just wicked. It really is so cool, man.
It's not, but you know what it is? You've got to be a certain type of individual, and you realize that you're not built like other people. Like other people, they just can do a 9 to 5 and then that's it. But I know I've got more to give. So at that point, I had a full-time job, and then I'd say probably that the last 2 years, Sports Fund for All kind of has been a full-time thing to an extent. But now, obviously, it's like live, sleep, and breathe this from the moment I wake up to when I go to bed. And I guess you can see that in the amount of stuff that we're doing. But I guess, yeah, I mean, hopefully Elias finishes uni next year. Hopefully take him on board full time. I mean, I don't really know. I think that when you've got something like this, there is no ceiling on where it can go because, as I said to Dylan, in November 2022, we had 3 venues. As it stands, we're in May 2025. We've got 13 venues, soon to be 15. We're starting a new session in Stockwell, which we've been given because the provider can't carry on the session. And because they know that our free football, I like that now. Like people, when it comes to free football, people are coming to us and saying, we want you to do this free football session. That's getting known now because I post so much on social media and I like that because we're being known as the free football guys. Like, and I like that. And then there's a new youth club opening at Riverside in Deptford. We're going to start a new session there. So that will then take us up to 19.
If listeners could take home a message from today, from you, what would it be?
Donate to Sports Fund for All on our local giving page. Is that allowed?
Perfect.
Or,
That's
That's definitely
allowed,
allowed.
and that's definitely an important message. I think that, um, if anything, what we've talked about proved today the importance of local outreach and local social activities and the amount of impact that you're doing in South London and London, and the reach is just incredibly impressive. So that is definitely a message that that you're allowed to say, and it's probably the most valuable message you could have passed.
Yeah, no,
Um,
definitely donate to us. We need funding. So anyone out there, if someone hears this and they feel inspired by what I've said and they want to visit a session or they want to check us out on social media, we're on everything, every platform. So yeah, check us out and you can see the impact that we're making to the young people in Southeast London.
George, you got anything you wanna add as we're closing?
No, just thank you and echo what you said, Kieran, of just if anyone's out there listening and will be inspired by you, get involved. You know, there's so much reward for those people who get involved with your project as well, like we have been in the past. And um, to be involved in a project like that is, yeah, it's everything. So yeah, get involved with Kieran and then just thank you, man. Thank you for coming and doing this. Thank you for all the work that you're doing in South London and London. And yeah, Dylan asked you, you know, what's the vision and where's it going? And, you know, I know you're just a force. As you said, it's a different, you're a different beast and you're a force and it's going to be big.
Definitely. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time.
It's so exciting to see how much it's growing. You're a force, bro.
You, man. And thank for your support, guys. Like, thanks for your constant belief and support. It's appreciated. It's needed because you sometimes you feel like you're doing this in solo mode, and yeah, obviously you got your staff, but they're delivering. So yeah, it's good to have other people to kind of bounce ideas off and feel supported by. So thank you.
Cheers,
Okay.
man. Well,
Cheers,
yeah,
man.
we'll be in
See you.
touch. Have a good
All
one,
right,
bud.
Bye.
man. Cool. Take
Peace.
care, guys. See you later.